Welcome to Whispers of History, where the past speaks softly and everyone is invited to drift through time at a glacial pace. If you're here to learn something new or simply to fall asleep to the comforting hum of ancient absurdities, you're in the right place. Tonight's journey may leave you deeply relaxed, mildly amused, and possibly more informed about an odd corner of the world than you ever intended to be. This episode, Boring History for Sleep: The Silent Codes of Japanese Bathhouse Towels. Please like, subscribe, and if your eyes aren't already half closed, comment your current location and the local time. We'd love to know which our towel talk is reaching tonight. Now let's ease into tonight's journey. You walk barefoot across warm, dark wood. The boards creak just a little under your weight, tired sounds from an old soul of a building, content to bear another sleepy traveler. The scent is gentle and humid, something between fresh cedar, warm water, and nostalgia. So this is not your home, and yet it could be. As outside, the day is slipping away. In a sleepy village just east of Kyoto, the lanterns have begun to glow like tiny suns, and steam curls up from unseen alleyways like secrets no one bothers to hide. The bathhouse you're entering is small, humble, and impossibly polite. It doesn't scream luxury, it whispers it, in a way only the Japanese tradition can. Your towel is waiting, not the big fluffy one, the small one. It's barely larger than a hand towel, slightly rough, delicately printed with indigo or red patterns. You may be thinking, surely this is just for drying off. Oh, you sweet summer child. You're holding a centuries-old cultural code. In the 17th century Edo period, communal bathing was as normal as morning coffee. And as with all things shared, rules arose, quiet rules, unwritten rules, rules passed towel to towel. How you folded how you wore it, whether it touched the water, all of it said something. It said where you came from, whether you were humble or proud, new or old, daring or traditional. It was, in essence, a silent woven in cotton. Historians still debate whether these towel languages were ever standardized or just emergent quirks. But one thing, for sure, people noticed. Tonight, in this world of steamy etiquette, you'll notice too. You pause in the little entryway where sandals go to rest. A quiet sliding door opens. Behind it, someone gives the softest bow. No words, just the knowing nod of bathhouse staff who's seen every kind of soul walk in and out. Rich men pretending to be poor, traveling monks in need of warmth, local grandmothers who haven't missed a soak since the war. You place your shoes on the wooden rack, left foot first. This doesn't mean anything, probably, or maybe it does. Honestly, who's keeping track? The curtain sways gently as you step past it, the cloth brushing your forehead like a grandmother's hand. The pattern stitched into it is familiar now. A large character, the Japanese symbol for hot water. A poetic understatement, really. This isn't just water, it's ritual, gossip, medicine, and therapy all in one. To your left, you catch sight of a vending machine that sells milk in glass bottles. Because apparently bathing requires post-soak calcium. To your right, the changing room awaits with baskets instead of lockers. No cameras, no chaos. just a dozen strangers preparing to be quiet together. And always the towel. One man folds it lengthwise and wraps it around his head like another carries it neatly over his shoulder. You spot an elderly woman tucking hers into the tie of her robe, like a warrior storing her blade. No one tells you what to do, but you feel it already. Your towel is talking, and you'd better make sure it's not saying something ridiculous. As outside, the wind rustles the bamboo gently. You probably won't make it through this day. Not because of danger, there's none, but because relaxation, like the steam here, is relentless. Let it take you. You've undressed now, calmly, without rush. The woven basket in the corner holds your worldly goods, shoes, shirt, phone, everything noisy, everything sharp. Gone. So what remains is you and your. You walk toward the bathing room on smooth stone tiles that are never quite cold, never quite warm. Someone has mastered temperature neutrality here, probably with ancient spells or an unholy mastery of geothermal engineering. Inside, the room opens up in a breath. The steam blurs the edges of things, tiles, limbs, time. Wooden stools are lined up like obedient little soldiers, each paired with a mirror, a bucket, and a faucet. You sit. This is the pre-bath bath, the cleansing before the cleansing. You lather with a little soap and scrub using the. It's not fluffy, no, but it exfoliates with a quiet confidence. Like a grandmother who doesn't believe in compliments but insists on feeding you until you're reborn. Here's a historical gem for you. In the Edo period, samurai would often carry their into battle. Not for bathing, obviously, but as multi-purpose tools. Sling, disguise. It's likely more people were saved or disguised by towels than by actual swords. But in this room there are no swords, just soap. An old man beside you mutters a proverb under his breath. Even a thief takes a bath. Which is true, you suppose, and oddly comforting. Everyone here is equal in their nudity, their cleanliness, and their minor confusion over what to do with the towel once it's wet. You glance around. No one places it in the tub. That's a big no-no. Dipping the towel into the shared bathwater is akin to microwaving fish in an office, not illegal but unforgettable. Some people fold theirs and place it on their heads. Why? Because it's cool. No, really, literally cooler than the hot water. It prevents dizziness. Others set it to the side, a small island in the sea of tiles. A few just hold it quietly in their hands like they're not quite ready to let go of civilization. An obscure cultural tidbit for tonight. During Japan's brief flirtation with nudist communes in the era, some members insisted on still carrying towels, purely as social markers. Even in radical liberation, towel politics persisted. You ease into the water slowly. No splashing, you are not a dolphin. The tub is deep, wide, and impossibly still, hot enough to make your ears buzz slightly but not unpleasantly. Around you, other bathers close their eyes. No one speaks. The only sound is water shifting against flesh like silk being folded in the dark. As historians still debate whether these silent norms originated in Buddhist monastic customs or from sheer practical necessity. Either way, the silence here feels ancient, woven as tightly into the room as the grain of the hinoki wood. As a woman across the tub catches your eye and gives a small, slow nod. Towel folded perfectly, balanced on her head like a crown. Now yours is drifting dangerously toward the water. You catch it just in time. A crisis averted. You lean back, head resting against the warm stone edge, eyes closing. The ceiling above is painted in faint spirals now fogged over. One looks vaguely like a cat, or a cloud, or both. But for now, you are weightless and warm, suspended in a culture that asks for nothing but quiet participation. Let the water hold you. Let the silence speak. Let the towel tell its tale. You lose track of time. That's the first sign the bathhouse is working. The seconds stop ticking the way they do in the outside world, those twitchy little timepieces that rush you from one obligation to the next. In here, time moves like steam. Upward, slowly, disappearing into stories no one tells out loud. While you close your eyes, and in the dark behind your eyelids, something begins to unfold. Not a vision exactly, but a kind of memory you didn't know you had. You imagine yourself not in the modern bathhouse you entered moments ago, but in a from the Meiji period around the 1880s. Wooden walls stained dark from decades of steam, lanterns swaying gently from iron hooks. A mural of Mount spans the entire back wall, painted by hand, always from the male side of the bath, a choice some have rightly questioned. The mountain looks surreal, floating above a painted ocean that somehow seems more vibrant in candlelight than it ever did in real life. The man scrubbing his back beside you is wearing a top knot you associate with old samurai movies, though by this era, it's mostly out of fashion. Maybe he's behind the times, or maybe he just likes it. You respect that. A group of children splash in the corner, earning a sharp from the attendant. Now you smile, the same rules echo through the centuries. The towel etiquette, even here, remains. No dipping, no wringing above the water, no wiping your face like you're washing a car. You see a man fold his with mechanical precision and place it, once again, on his head. Now you do the same, this time not just to fit in. It feels right, balanced. Back in the present, the water shifts slightly. A newcomer enters. You open your eyes and return to now. The woman walking in is elderly, but she moves like water herself, graceful, unbothered by age. She carries her towel folded precisely in thirds. That's the old Kyoto style, rarely seen anymore. A signal of traditionalism. Of someone who knew these rules before they were written down, or more likely never needed them written at all. Now she notices your towel, gives it a curious glance. Maybe you folded it wrong, or maybe she's just pleased you're trying. Not everyone tries anymore. One obscure cultural tidbit. In some rural towns, particularly in Hokkaido, there were once color-coded towel systems used during festivals. Red for unmarried women, blue for craftsmen, Green for those who'd recently experienced loss, towel as quiet announcement, towel as badge, a sort of pre-digital status update without the dopamine crash. The woman eases into the tub across from you and exhales, a sound so peaceful it practically becomes part of the water. You follow suit, letting your shoulders slide just a little deeper, until the world becomes warmth, soundless and smooth. You think of the towel again. Isn't it strange how something so small, so apparently insignificant, can carry this much meaning? Historians still debate whether the earliest communal bathhouses were born from Chinese influence or native Shinto purification rituals. But it's clear that by the 8th century, Japan had made the practice wholly its own. And with it came its quiet customs, its codes. A small sign near the door reads, "No tattoos." Ah yes, the Yakuza problem. While modern times are slowly relaxing these restrictions, many traditional bathhouses still prohibit body art due to its long association with organized crime. Still, this is changing. There are tattoo-friendly onsen now, and even places where covering your ink with a towel is acceptable compromise. Once again, the towel negotiates peace. You sigh, the water answers in ripples. As outside, dusk has given way to night. The lanterns now flicker, casting soft halos onto the misty windows. Somewhere, a cicada calls out late to the party, but determined to sing anyway. You begin to wonder how many towels has this place seen? Thousands, millions. Each one carried by someone hopping to leave their worries in the water. You reach up and adjust your towel, which by now has earned its place on your head like a modest, slightly damp crown. You wear it well. You leave the bath slowly, not out of reluctance but reverence. As every limb feels fluid, like your bones remembered their 70% water and have chosen to lean into it. You towel off quietly, yes, with that towel, and follow the path back toward the changing room. Your robe waits folded beside the basket, crisp, light, and just a touch too short. Robes are never quite your size in these places, are they? But no one's judging. Your ankles are having their moment. The dressing room is lit softly, as if someone dimmed the entire atmosphere just for your benefit. You sit before a mirror framed in bamboo and reach for one of the communal. They hum like polite bees. A man beside you hums too, a traditional folk tune though you can't name it. He folds his towel, yes, still that one, into a neat rectangle and places it beside his shaving kit. There's something oddly intimate about watching strangers perform mundane routines with such care. Here's something obscure. In certain towns during the Edo period, bathhouses also served as informal matchmaking venues. Mothers would bring their sons and not so subtly observe the daughters of other patrons. If someone folded their towel particularly well, that was a green flag. Apparently, clean habits and silent manners have always been a turn-on. You slip on your socks split-toed like little mittens and step into your slippers. They squeak slightly. Not annoying, just present. Another reminder that the outside world with its sharper edges is waiting. Oh, but not yet. You stop at the vending machine. Milk, yes, in a glass bottle. Cold, smooth, vaguely nostalgic. Supposedly, this became a tradition after WWII when calcium-rich milk was promoted to support recovery in malnourished children. Now it's just ritual. You pop the cap, take a sip, and the world slows even more. Back in the lounge, you find a tatami mat. A television murmurs softly in the corner. Baseball highlights, a game from earlier in the day. You have no stake in the teams, no knowledge of the players, and no desire to move. Perfect. Your towel now rests in your lap, folded once again. Its patterns are more noticeable now, little plum blossoms, fading slightly from years of use. You imagine the story it tells, of evenings like this, of hot water and cool air and silence filled with unspoken agreement. The woman from earlier passes by. She nods again, slightly more formal this time. Towel folded into a thin triangle, tucked into the front of her robe like a scholar's handkerchief. She is clearly a towel master. You, meanwhile, are towel-aware, which is more than you were before. Is one major historical fact before you drift too far. By the 1930s, the Japanese government regulated prices to keep public bathing affordable for all social classes. At one point, a bath cost just 5 sen. That's less than a modern gumball, if you could even find one of those anymore. As historians still debate whether this subsidization was entirely altruistic or partially a tool to promote national hygiene. Either way, it meant more people got clean. You finish your milk and wipe your lips with the edge of the towel. Scandalous, not really, but a little bold. You wonder what towel traditionalists would say. You rise, stretch, and walk once more toward the entrance. The same staff member is there, bowing gently, expression unchanged. Behind them, the sways. You pass through it again, forehead brushing cloth, and the night greets you like an old friend who never forgot your name. Shoes back on, left foot first again, not superstitious, just polite. You step into the cool evening air, towel in hand, and the silence follows. Not the absence of noise, but the fullness of it. A silence that holds space. Your towel is still warm from your hands, still slightly damp. And suddenly you realize, you understand something new. Not just about bathhouses, but about how people speak without speaking, how etiquette becomes language, how something as small as a towel can carry centuries. And how quiet, it turns out, can be louder than anything else. You walk slowly now, not because you're tired, but because the world outside feels distant, less important, as though time itself paused politely, waiting for you to rejoin. The streets are quiet, velvet soft under the dim lamplight. Somewhere, a radio plays faintly through a paper-thin wall, maybe music, one of those tear-stained ballads of lost love and honorable heartbreak. You don't understand the words, but somehow your soul nods along. You reach into your bag, and there it is, your towel. Still warm, still slightly damp, still whispering its story. Now you might think this is the end of the tale. After all, the bath is done, your clothes are back on, your skin hums from heat and milk and peace. What's left? But no, you see, the bathhouse isn't just a place, it's an ecosystem. And your towel, it's still not done talking. As you turn down a narrow street, one you don't quite remember entering earlier, you spot another bathhouse. This one older, rougher around the edges, a bit like a jazz bar that time forgot. The sign above is cracked and flickering, but it's still up. Now you wander closer, because of course you do. This is a hidden bath, not in a criminal sense, just less obvious. The kind locals whisper about. The kind that doesn't show up on travel blogs or glossy maps. These places are like secret levels in a video game, enter by accident, leave transformed. While you step inside, here the rules feel different, not wrong, just older. The woman at the front doesn't speak. She simply slides a wooden token toward you. It's warm from her palm. You nod, accept it, and bow without thinking. You're fluent now in gestures that need no words. Inside, you change again, not out of necessity but respect. The water is darker here, perhaps from minerals, perhaps from age. Or maybe the lighting's just dim enough to make your reflection look a century old. As you enter the smaller, round tub, stone this time, not tile, you notice something. A man nearby holds a towel, not just any towel. It's patterned with rabbits leaping across waves. You recognize it instantly, an Edo period motif. But this version is faded, hand-dyed, clearly handmade, not the kind sold in gift shops. You nod to him, he nods back, a brief flicker of solidarity, towel kins. And then you do something bold. You place your towel on the edge of the tub, folded in a very particular way. Once lengthwise, then once more into a small, triangular shape, Kyoto style, grandmother certified. He sees, his expression doesn't change, but you swear the air gets warmer. Approval, like heat, doesn't always need a voice. Historical pause. Did you know that during the Edo era, bathhouse staff were required by law to remain sober at all times under penalty of public flogging? Apparently, too many were slipping patrons herbal enhancements under the table. Historians still debate whether these rules were widely enforced, or just a suggestion ignored after sundown. Back in your hidden bath, the atmosphere is so still, you can hear your own pulse in your ears. Someone sneezes, someone chuckles, but mostly the world continues its silent agreement. Soak, breathe, don't disturb the sacred heat. You close your eyes again. And in that moment, you begin to imagine all the people who'd done this before you. As a silk merchant resting after a 17-hour journey on foot. A young woman soaking away heartbreak she never told anyone about. A grandmother scrubbing a grandson's back, teaching him without a single lecture. Each of them's towel in hand. Each of them a single thread in this endless, warm story. While you lean back and think, maybe we've been misunderstanding what history means. Maybe it isn't just kings, battles, or broken treaties. Maybe it's in the towels we fold, the rituals we repeat, the quiet rules that guide us generation to generation without needing a single word. Maybe history is soft and the bath ends again, this time slower. You dry off in quiet, folding your towel with practiced ease. You didn't plan to care about this process, but you do now. As outside, the stars are clearer. The moon is bright and round, and for a second you're convinced it's watching you, judging your towel folding skills, approving of your progress. You bow to the staff on your way out, the same way you've seen others bow all night. It's strange, really, how quickly you picked this up. But not surprising. Some cultures enter you like warm water. You begin the walk home, or to your inn, or to whatever version of reality waits at the edge of this dreams. Though the night air cools your skin, but you don't shiver. Your body carries the heat of tradition, of water, of peace. Your towel, now dry, rides in your sleeve. A classic placement, one that in olden days signified you were a regular, someone who knew the rules. Someone who belonged. You stop at a vending machine that hums faintly in the dark. It offers canned coffee, corn soup, and something that suspiciously looks like jelly in a can. You choose the coffee, press the hot option. It clicks, thunks, and delivers. You sip, too sweet, but you don't care, it's ritual now. Here's a weird historical tidbit to swirl with your caffeine. In the 18th century, some bathhouses doubled as amateur kabuki theaters. Small platforms were built beside soaking areas, and patrons would sit wet and steaming while watching slapstick performances with soap bubbles and drama. Eventually banned for being too distracting, they left behind only rumors and maybe a few soggy scripts. You chuckle, probably for the best. Soap and soliloquies don't always mix. Further down the path, you pass a wooden sign etched with an old proverb. To know the bath is to know the self. Simple, overused, a little too tattoo-worthy, but tonight it lands. You think again of your towel. What does it say about you now? Maybe that you're someone who took the time to listen, who entered quietly, folded carefully, soaked deeply. Someone who honored a tradition not with performance, but with presence. And isn't that what culture is in the end? Not just knowledge, not just history, but participation. You round a corner and see your lodging glowing softly in the dark. Shoes off, left foot first, again. You step inside. Your room is still, your futon laid out, your towel resting across the pillow like a bookmark saving your place in the evening. You slide the door shut, the click is soft, almost shy. One more historical gem before you drift off. In some Shinto practices, a folded towel is offered at the altar of purification alongside a bowl of water and salt. A silent offering, a thank you, a nod to the sacredness of cleansing, not just of the body but of the spirit. Historians still debate whether this ritual emerged from the bathhouses or preceded them. But in either case, the message remains. Water heals, silence holds, and towels remember. You lie down, your towel is near, still speaking, still soft. As outside, the wind rustles the trees. A cicada murmurs one last time. The night folds itself around you. You breathe deeply, slowly. And somewhere, centuries away, someone else does the same. You wake up slowly, without rush. The futon beneath you is just firm enough to keep your spine aligned, just soft enough to make you consider never rising again. A thin morning light slices through the rice paper window. Not a command, just an invitation. While you stretch, and beside you, your towel. It's folded into a perfect square now. You don't remember doing that. Maybe you did. Maybe the towel folds itself now out of habit or pride. You pick it up. It smells faintly of steam, cedarwood, and whatever that elusive scent is that only lingers in places that expect nothing from you. You take it with you, of course you do. At this point, leaving it behind would feel like forgetting your names. Downstairs, the innkeeper greets you with a bow. You return it, towel tucked in the crook of your arm like an elder companion. The breakfast table is already set. Grilled fish, pickles, miso soup, a small folded egg that looks like a yellow poem. You eat slowly, the way breakfast should be eaten. The way breakfast used to be eaten before we collectively decided to speedrun life with a muffin in the car. As you sip your tea, another guest walks by. They have a towel, too, hanging casually from the belt of their yukata, a bit frayed, proudly so. You nod at each other. It's not a greeting exactly. It's towel recognition. A kind of secret club with no dues and no meetings, just mutual understanding that some things matter more when no one's pointing at them. As after breakfast, you step outside. The morning is still lazy, still stretching its limbs. The streets are dappled with sun through narrow gaps in tiled rooftops. A cat blinks at you from a ledge, then decides you're not interesting enough to move for. Fair. So today you're not heading to a bathhouse. Not yet. So today is a towel day. You've heard about a little shop tucked away behind the market. A place that still hand dyes the old-fashioned way, using fermented indigo and techniques older than most countries. So you walk. It takes about 20 minutes. Through narrow streets lined with wooden buildings, down an alley that looks like it leads to nowhere, past a vending machine that offers only hot soup and melancholy. So then you find it. The shop is barely more than a room. No neon, no jingles, no QR codes taped to the window. Just a wooden sign with the character, meaning hand, and a blue curtain faded from the sun. Inside, it smells like cloth and earth and ink. An old man sits at a low table, dipping wooden blocks into vats of color. He doesn't look up when you enter. You wait. He finishes a block, sets it aside, and then finally looks at you. Not surprised, just curious. You hold up your towel, a simple gesture, a silent request. He studies it, nods, then gestures to a small rack of fresh ones. patterns swirling like ocean currents, foxes mid-leap, cherry blossoms that seem to drift even in stillness. All you to choose is one. Not the flashiest, not the softest, just right, a pale blue with a barely visible pattern of raindrops falling into a lake. Quiet, thoughtful. It feels like it's always belonged to you somehow. You ask him softly how long he's been doing this. He shrugs. Since the rain was older, he replies. You decide that's both beautiful and unhelpful. He wraps the new towel in rice paper and ties it with a bit of twine. You pay, bow, and leave. As outside, the air smells different. Or maybe you do. That's the thing about handmade things. They carry the fingerprints of their creators. You're not just holding fabric now, you're holding time, intention, and a little bit of rain from a memory not your own. As a historical note to float gently into your thoughts, during the period, some were used as messages, patterns indicating allegiance, or simple coded lines of loyalty. There's even rumor of one such towel carrying instructions for a castle siege tucked beneath the folds of a traveling merchant's sleeve. Historians still debate whether that's truth or folklore, but either way, it's towel espionage. And that's glorious. You return to your inn with both towels now. One you earned, one you chose, both telling different stories. You lay them side by side. And you wonder, what will they say about you 100 years from now? As afternoon, the light has grown soft and golden, slanting through trees and over rooftops like it's reluctant to say goodbye. You sit on a bench in a small park, the kind you wouldn't notice if you weren't already in a slow mood. Your towel rests in your lap, today's new acquisition. The old one, it's tucked away carefully, respectfully. It's earned its rest. Across from you, an elderly man sits down with a newspaper. He glances at your towel, then at you. His face barely moves, but there's the faintest curve in his mouth. Your towel coded now, marked, seen. He clears his throat. Not many buy those anymore, he says, in that kind of half-mutter older people use when they're technically not talking to you but very much are. You smile, it felt right. He nods, it's not the pattern, it's the patience. You don't say anything, but the wind does, brushing your sleeve, lifting a corner of the towel like it's curious too. Now let's pull back the lens slowly. Zoom out of your quiet bench into the broader picture. A world where these small cultural artifacts survive not because they're profitable, but because someone cared enough not to stop. This towel-making method, dyeing as it's called, dates back over 100 years. In it, resist paste is applied to layers of cloth, then dye is poured from above and absorbed from both sides. The result? Patterns that go all the way through, never fading after a single wash. Unlike printed towels, towels age beautifully. They wear in, not out. Kind of like us. One obscure gem to pocket. Some schools in Japan used to assign different towel patterns to students during summer camp. That way, in a sea of identical uniforms, you could still find yourself by your pattern. A reminder that identity can be both quiet and communal. Though the man beside you rises, stretches, and bows slightly before leaving. While you're alone again, you decide to walk once more. This time to a bathhouse you passed yesterday but didn't enter. It had no name, just the sound of running water behind a stone wall. When you arrive, it's open, of course it is. You bow as you enter. Inside, the smell is different, saltier, more mineral. This is no ordinary bath. This is an onsen, a bath enriched with magnesium chloride often drawn from seawater. Supposedly good for the skin, the joints, and the soul. The room is small, quiet. You're alone for now. You undress, and for the first time today, you unfold your new towel. It's soft, cool in your hands. It smells faintly of the shop, of ink and wind and quiet rain. You wash first, as always. Then, towel folded and placed delicately on the edge, you sink into the water. It hits differently. A warmer, wiser. You think of all the baths you've taken, all the places you've wandered, and how this simple piece of cloth has become a kind of compass. You are, in this moment, the person you wish you always were, slow, present, weightless. The water holds you, the towel waits, the world recedes. Then somewhere far away, the old towel dreams too. You rise from the water slower than you entered it, slow as a tide, a ritual, a promise. Though the bath doesn't end, it releases you. Your body glows slightly now as if the minerals soaked through your skin into your bones. You towel off with care. Today's towel, light blue and water-kissed, seems even softer after the bath. Or maybe you're just more sensitive to softness now. In the dressing room, the mirror reflects a version of you that looks returned, not transformed exactly, but recalibrated. You dress not quickly, each layer a gentle return to structure, to form. The towel once again becomes accessory. You fold it into your sleeve this time, Edo style, hidden, present. As outside, the evening hums. It's not yet dark, but the air has begun to lower its voice. Cicadas are tuning up for their dusk performance. Somewhere nearby, someone lights incense. Sandalwood, probably, maybe chrysanthemum. You head toward the edge of town, not far, just enough to reach a small community gathering space. It's not advertised as such, but locals know. A modest wooden building with an old radio in the window and mismatched chairs set around a stone courtyard. You've been told they hold here. The bath talk. You enter. The room is warm, not from water, but from people who've been quiet together. Older men and women sit on cushions, sipping barley tea, their towels draped casually across shoulders, laps, arms. Each towel a different age, pattern, posture. You sit near a window. No one greets you with words, just small nods, the language of the towel wearer. Then someone speaks. An old man in a kimono that might predate the internet. The first bath I ever took, he begins, was with my grandfather. He brought his towel folded tight, told me, "Don't unfold it until your skin has earned it." As everyone chuckles softly, not a laugh, just acknowledgement. If another woman shares a story about misplacing her towel in a bathhouse when she was young, and how the staff found it, dried it, and returned it folded with a candy tucked inside. "Best customer service I've ever had," she mutters. "And I've been to Disney." There's something about this space, this mix of quiet and memory and tea, that makes you feel part of a living archive. Here's a historical detail they don't teach in school. During the era 1912-1926, some bathhouses offered storytelling hours after the evening soak. Patrons would gather in rooms like this one, listen to ghost tales, poems, or local gossip disguised as parables. Bathhouses became cultural salons where steam gave way to speech. Historians still debate whether this tradition evolved organically or was cleverly marketed by struggling bathhouse owners looking to keep crowds longer. Either way, it worked. Back in the room, someone passes you a cup of tea. It's lukewarm, just barely bitter. You sip it gratefully. Then the man beside you unfolds his towel. Not to show off, not to challenge, just to share. The pattern is stunning. Cranes flying low over pine trees, the design so detailed you can see their wings mid-beat. Oh, he says nothing. Now you unfold yours slowly. It's a quieter design, raindrops, the lake. Oh, he nods, that's it, that's the exchange. No Instagram, no hashtags. Just the old ritual of showing someone your towel and seeing if they understand. Though the group drifts into silence again, each person now wrapped in some memory. No one asks questions. No one interrupts. It's as if the bath hasn't really ended, just moved into a new form. Steam becomes speech, warmth becomes memory. You sit there, tea in hand, your towel on your knees, and realize this is history, not as timeline but as temperature. Later, you walk back through the dimming streets, past windows that glow like lanterns, past bikes leaning against walls like tired dogs. The air is cooler now, not cold but respectful. The kind of evening air that lets you think your thoughts without pushing them around. You decide to visit one last bathhouse before the day truly ends. You've heard whispers of it. A women-run, generations-old bath tucked into the hillside, known mostly for its quiet clientele and long, wide soaking pool. You arrive as they're opening for night hours. The woman at the counter greets you with a bow. She's wearing a towel over her shoulder, white plain stitched with a single kanji, meaning quiet. You return the bow. Inside, the air smells different again, this time like rice bran and citrus peel. You later learn this bath uses yuzu in its water, floating whole fruits, especially in winter. A tradition said to prevent colds and bring good fortune. But you're not here for fortune, you're here for immersions. You undress carefully. Your towel sits folded on the bench waiting. A sign above the washing area reads, "Clean not just for yourself, but for the person beside you." Oh, you like that. You wash slowly, thoroughly. The woman beside you does the same, neither of you speak. But your rhythms align, a small, wordless duet. Then the pool. Long, deep, steaming gently like a dream someone forgot to end. While you slide in and instantly your body remembers something you didn't know it had forgotten. A deep, wordless comfort. A sense of being exactly where you're supposed to be. Across the room, a group of middle-aged women are soaking silently. Their towels rest on their heads like soft tiaras. One of them laughs, low and brief. Too hot today, she mutters, but I like it when it hurts a little. They all laugh, not loud, just enough. You smile, eyes closed. Here's your obscure cultural detail for the night. In certain rural regions of Japan, the towel was once used as a matchmaking hint. If a young woman folded her towel into a specific triangle and tucked it into her sash, it meant she was open to being approached, but only if the other person's towel matched her fold. Like Tinder, but with origami. Historians still debate whether this was ever real or just regional folklore passed down by bored grandmothers. But isn't that the best kind of history? Slightly unbelievable, yet too charming to ignore. You think of the towel you bought today, the one you brought here, the one resting now on a bamboo shelf nearby. And for the first time in hours, you wonder what your towel might say about you now. You, the listener, the bather, the enfolder and sipper of warm milk. You who came seeking peace and found precision, who thought towels were just tools and now carry one like a badge. You've changed not dramatically, but gently, like cloth after its first wash, softer in its weave. The women rise one by one, towels wrapped around shoulders, the air cooling around their absence. You stay. You soak a little longer, just enough to memorize this temperature. Then finally you rise. The air against your skin is cool and reverent. You towel off. Fold it with deliberate care once, then again. You dress. You bow to the woman at the counter on your way out. She nods toward your towel. That's a good one, she says. You beam silently, of course. And outside, the stars have claimed the sky. Your towel rests now in your pocket. Folded into quarters, not for show, not for status, just because that's what feels right. And as you walk back through the quiet town, past shuttered shops and sleeping bicycles, you realize something. You came here to fall asleep to boring history. And instead, you found the quiet power of things that refuse to shout to be remembered. The sacredness of steam. The language of folding. The stories towels tell. The next morning arrives like a slow breath through the curtains. You wake to the sound of soft sweeping, broom bristles against stone. Somewhere downstairs, a kettle clicks. The air smells like toasted rice and cedar. Time is still moving in units slower than minutes here, more like heartbeats or steam puffs. You rise, You fold your bedding with the gentle, lumpy grace of someone who's finally stopped trying to be efficient and started trying to be respectful. Your towel, once again, is waiting. It sits where you left it, but it feels different now. Not because of any physical change, but because you've begun to look at it like an extension of self, like a page in your diary, one that dries your hands and records your mood at the same time. You run a hand along the fabric. The weave is than it was when you bought it, slightly worn in from use, just enough to hold a new kind of softness. The fibers remember the baths you've visited, the water you've soaked in, the people you nodded at in silence. You dress slowly, pack your bag even slower. The towel goes in last, folded flat like a letter you're mailing to your future self. Well, then you step outside. Today is for wandering. You stroll through a street market slowly waking up. Vendors arrange fruit in geometric pyramids, each tangerine placed like a precious gem. A woman stacks handmade soap into a display that looks suspiciously like abstract sculpture. You pause at a small stand selling second-hand household goods, ceramic bowls, vintage fans, old stamps. And in a corner, a pile of faded. Not for tourists. These are old, softened by time. You pick one up. The pattern is barely visible. What may have once been koi fish now look like underwater ghosts. It's still beautiful, maybe more beautiful because it's almost gone. Oh, the vendor eyes you, not new, she says. Oh, you nod, better that way. Oh, she shrugs, smiles, you get it. You buy too, you don't need them. But you also absolutely do. You fold them into your bag like treasure maps. As you walk on, you recall a peculiar fact you once read. In early 20th century Kyoto, there was a brief trend of using towels as political banners, each fold indicating a stance, each print carrying coded ideology. One pattern might mean loyalty to the emperor. Another might mean sympathy to labor unions. Historians still debate whether this was widespread or limited to only a few enthusiastic radicals with access to dye vats. But it's another reminder. Even the smallest textile can hold revolution in its threads. Your feet take you to a small hilltop garden. There's no signage, no guidebook entry, just a single stone bench beneath a tree shaped like a question mark. You sit. The wind pushes gently against the back of your neck like a friend reminding you you're not alone. You take out one of your new towels and unfold it across your lap. Oh, it's not just a fabric, it's reflection. You think about the people who owned this towel before you, the hands that wrung it out, the water it touched, the nights it dried someone's hair after a bath taken in silence. You imagine someone holding it after a long day, maybe tired, maybe grieving, maybe just existing in the soft, slow hours between light and dark. You imagine they folded it with care, and now you do the same. Here, surrounded by nothing but wind and leaves and memory, you realize you're not just learning history, you're carrying it. By mid-afternoon, you've made your way to another bathhouse. Of course you have, you didn't plan to, but the road curved toward it and your heart tilted in the same direction. This one is older than the others, not in age exactly but in presence. The building sags slightly at the corners like it's been exhaling since the late Meiji period. The entrance is framed with smooth stone. There's a tiny pine tree in a pot beside the door, leaning just a bit too far to the left like it's gossiping with the wind. You bow as you enter. Inside, the interior is dim, not dark, just gently unbothered by artificial brightness. A wooden clock ticks softly above the reception desk. There's no attendant here, just a small box with coins and a sign that says, "Leave what's fair." You do more than fair. Something about this place makes you want to tip the walls for existing. You undress again, each motion slower than the last time. This is becoming choreography now, a dance of shedding and soaking and folding and placing. You bring one of the vintage towels with you, the koi ghost one. Somehow it feels like this bath deserves a towel with memory. The water is hotter than expected, almost shockingly so, but not in a hostile way. It's more like a stern elder, you're here to rest, then rest properly. You sink in, the koi ghosts draped over your head like a shroud of forgotten fish. You stay very still. And the bath does what it always does. It absorbs what you didn't know you were carrying. You begin to think about the towel's life. Where was it first used? In what kind of home did it belong to? A busy mother, a traveling salesman, a lonely painter? Did someone once dry their eyes with this towel, or only their hands? You're startled by the realization that you're not alone. As another person enters, a man with white hair and perfect posture. He nods at you, you nod back. His towel is shocking, bright red, crisp, brand new, the polar opposite of yours. You both sit in silence, you with your frayed koi, him with his blazing. You feel like characters in a parable with no plot. Eventually he speaks, "I only use new towels." You smile, "I only use old ones." He nods, balance then. That's all. You both soak quietly. As after a while he leaves, folds his red towel into thirds and places it neatly into a bag that looks more expensive than your entire wardrobe. You stay. The bath has taken you in. The koi ghosts curl slightly at the ends from steam like they're stretching. Here's your obscure fact for this chapter. There was once a practice in certain inns near Mount where guests were given a towel that doubled as a prayer cloth. It bore no images, only stitched kanji meant to represent protective blessings. Some pilgrims wore them tied across their chest as they walked. Some simply folded them and placed them near their heart. Historians still debate whether this dual-purpose towel was actually common or only offered to particularly pious guests. But it's another reminder that a towel, like a person, can be more than one thing. You finally rise from the bath, towel in hand, and walk into the dressing room. You dress without haste. The koi towel is a little thinner now, or maybe you're just feeling more of it. You fold it. Not carefully, not lazily, just honestly. You carry it with you out the door where the pine tree still lines. The air smells faintly of steam and sandalwood, and the path ahead bends slightly out of sight. You don't know where you're going next, but you do know what's coming with you. You walk with your towel under your arm like a monk might carry a scroll. Not for display, not for performance, but for quiet consultation. The street slopes downhill now. You let gravity take over. There's no need to rush. Rushing is for airports and overcooked dinners. The late afternoon sunlight has that golden, forgiving quality where even cracked paint and rusty gutters look like art installations. A woman walks past you holding a basket of oranges. One falls out. She catches it with her elbow, doesn't break stride. The small miracles of a well-rehearsed life. You pass a group of practicing kendo in a courtyard, their shouts echoing off stone. Each swing of the bamboo sword followed by the sharp call of intent men, a reminder that discipline doesn't have to mean rigidity. Your towel feels heavier today, not physically, just weightier. You reach another bathhouse. You didn't plan to, but again, the universe has this habit of guiding you toward warm, tiled places. This one is nearly empty. You pay, remove your shoes, undress, wash, soak. The pattern is the same, the experience is never identical. You bring out your second vintage towel. This one stitched faintly with a mountain pattern, probably once bright blue, now faded into the shade of memory. As you soak, you begin to think of all the lives your towel might have touched. Maybe it lived in a home with a low ceiling and floor cushions and a grandmother who hummed when she cooked. Maybe it sat on a windowsill to dry while cicadas screamed their summer song. Maybe it was used to wipe tears or laughter or both. Though this bath is the quietest yet. No music, no chatter, just water and breath and tile. As a young woman enters, her towel is pristine, covered in cartoon cats. She lowers herself into the water across from you and exhales like she's just released a week of office emails from her spine. You nod, she nods, your towels do the talking. And after a long silence, she says, I bought this towel because it made me laugh. You look at the cats, each one doing something ridiculous. Playing, dancing under umbrellas, one even meditating with surprising calm. A good choice, you say. As she smiles, yours looks like it knows secrets. You glance at your mountain-patterned cloth. It probably does. Here's a niche cultural nugget for your mind to wrap around like steam. During the Edo period, towel exchange was a form of thank you gift after large favors. Rather than money, one might gift a finely folded with the family crest of the giver. It wasn't just fabric, it was reputation made tangible. Think of it like handing someone your LinkedIn profile, but softer and with less unsolicited advice. Historians still debate whether this tradition faded due to modernization, or because people simply ran out of places to hang all these thank you towels. Back in the bath, you and the cat towel woman soak in companionable silence. And eventually she rises, bows, and leaves. Her towel over her shoulder, now a little less clean, a little more loved. You stay not because you need to, because you want to. The water has changed temperature slightly. Cooler now, more thoughtful. You remember something else. A friend once told you that anything soaked in meaning becomes sacred. A word, a cup, a towel. You close your eyes and let that sink in. Then, like the bath always does, it tells you when it's time to leave. You towel off, fold it, dress, step back into the cool dusk. The evening is scented with noodles and rain. A child laughs around the corner. Somewhere nearby, laundry flaps against a balcony. You think of your towel drying with it, part of the rhythm now. You keep walking. Night in this town doesn't fall, it flows. Like ink from a careful brush, it spreads across rooftops, slips into alleys, pools quietly around doorsteps. The lamps flicker on one by one, not in resistance to the dark, but in greeting. You walk slower now, if that's even possible. As every storefront is closed or preparing to. A man rolls up a curtain with the reverence of someone tucking in a child. A woman wipes down a counter that probably didn't need wiping. You find yourself back at the inn. The door slides open like it's known you were coming. Inside, your futon is fluffed. The tea kettle hums. Your towel rests folded on the sill, catching the breeze like a tiny flag of surrender. While you sit beside it and touch the fabric. It's still warm from the sun, from memory. You pull out the mountain towel and lay it beside the first. 2 stories side by side. And then you do something bold. You begin to write. Not a journal, not a letter, just notes scribbled on a napkin, 1 line per towel. This one felt like fog in the forest. This one smelled like old cedar. This one made someone laugh. Not for anyone else, just you, just the towel and the moment and a pencil that was probably borrowed without asking. Here's a quietly astonishing fact. During the Meiji Restoration, when Japan was modernizing rapidly, some families passed down towels as heirlooms, not because of their quality, but because they were hand-dyed with symbols now illegal under new rule. Some had crests, some slogans, some just colors banned for being too feudal. A towel became both comfort and resistance. Historians still debate whether these towels were used in secret or simply hidden, waiting for a safer time to breathe again. While you sip the tea, as outside a breeze lifts your window paper slightly, a moth flutters by. Inside, your towels are still, your room a kind of shrine now. You lie down, and the towels are beside you, not as objects but as witnesses. You think maybe this is why people keep coming to bathhouses, not just for the water, but for the stillness, for the proof that small, soft things matter. For towels that don't just dry but listen. You drift off briefly, just a flicker of sleep. The kind where you don't dream, but your body resets in the silence between thoughts. When you wake, it's just after midnight. The room is lit only by the moon, casting a pale silver across your towel stack. While you sit up, stretch, stand. And for no good reason at all, you decide to go for a walk. You fold a towel under your arm, the first one, the blue raindrop lake towel, the one that started it all. Outside, the streets are deserted. The town is sleeping with one eye open like all old towns do. You walk until you find the small shrine near the edge of the woods. You hadn't planned to visit, but tonight it pulls you like gravity. You step through the torii gate, the wind hushes. The night feels like it's holding its breaths. You bow, and then you unfold the towel, lay it over the shrine's offering box, not as an offering exactly, just as a presence. Oh, thank you. Not to the gods, but to the quiet, to the water, to the small folded things that keep us warm. And as you step back, the wind lifts the corner of the towel like it's nodding. You bow once more, and walk back slowly. Because there is nothing left to rush through. Morning again, but different. This time you don't wake up to sound or sunlight. You wake up because your body says it's ready, gently, like a whisper at your shoulder. Not a demand, just a nudge. You sit up. The room hasn't changed, but it feels changed because you've spent so many hours simply being within it. Familiarity does that. It adds warmth where there was once only space. Your towel sits where you left it last night, still folded, still watching. You stretch, slowly, like you're rehearsing for a ballet about elderly trees. Then you pad over to the small tea kettle in the corner and pour yourself a cup of green tea so delicate it might have a soul. You sip, the taste is grassy, almost shy. The steam curls like it's trying to form a sentence. You pick up your towel, it's starting to feel like a kind of punctuation in your days. A comma, a soft pause. You dress, step out, let the morning wrap around you like an old shawl. Though the street is quiet, only the bakery has opened. The smell of rising dough wraps around your ankles as you walk past. While you decide to do something you haven't done since arriving here, nothing. No destination, no checklist, no bathhouse in mind, just amble. You let the town unfold under your feet like a lazy map. You pass a bookstore that doesn't open until noon. Its window is filled with old books, one of which has a towel tucked between the pages, possibly as a bookmark, possibly as a statement. You pass a man hanging out bedding with clothespins made of bamboo. His towel is flapping too, bright yellow with a pattern of persimmons. It waves at you like a very enthusiastic flag. You wave back, the towel waves harder. You keep walking until you find yourself on a hillside. The grass here is wild and ankle-high, dotted with little blue flowers that don't have names outside of botanical textbooks. You sit on a stone, your towel beside you like a travel partner with no opinions. You close your eyes, the wind plays with your sleeves. You think about how often towels are described as useful. But they're not just useful. They're faithful. They follow us from bath to bath, from hotel to home, from beach to basement. They wrap around us without judgment. They dry what we cry. They wait even when we forget them. And here's something oddly historical to chew on with your tea. In certain early post-war bathhouses, towels were sometimes used to signal grief. A patron might wear theirs draped low around the neck, loosely and intentionally unkempt, not to gain sympathy, but to subtly mark themselves as someone navigating loss. A code only those who'd also walked through grief would understand. Historians still debate whether this was actually a standardized signal or just a spontaneous act that gained quiet popularity. Either way, it's telling. The towel speaks when the voice can't. Now you open your eyes. Now the sun has shifted. Your towel is warm from sitting beside you. Now you pick it up, fold it, stand. Back down the hill, past the waving persimmon towel, past the bookstore now slightly ajar, past a child blowing bubbles on the corner who pauses mid-bubble to stare at your towel like it might contain secrets. Well, maybe it does. You walk back toward your inn not out of necessity, but because some places become anchors. And this inn, with its creaky floorboards and overly polite sliding doors, has become yours. You return, remove your shoes, bow to no one. Inside your room, you place the towel back on the sill. It looks pleased. Not proud, just quietly satisfied. You lie down just to rest your back, just for a moment. You wake up 3 hours later. The towel is still there. Waiting. You spend the rest of the day in town, mostly doing very little, but doing it with full commitment. You drink a second tea you didn't need. Watch a trio of elderly men argue, not loudly, but with theatrical sighs and long pauses that suggest the disagreement is mostly for entertainment. You buy a small rice cracker from a shop where the owner hands it to you wrapped in what looks suspiciously like recycled towel fabric. While you say nothing, they wink. But as the afternoon deepens and the light begins to shift from white to honey-colored, you feel it again, that pull. The soft gravitational tug of a bath not yet taken. This time, you know exactly where you're going. There's a bathhouse on the far edge of the district just before the river bends. It's rarely spoken of. No signage, no reviews online. You found it mentioned once in an old book that said, "For those who seek warmth without conversation." You walk there slowly, towel under your arms. It's exactly where it was described. Hidden behind a shuttered storefront and a tangle of flowering vines. The front door is unlocked, you enter. There's no one at the counter, just a handwritten note. Please bathe as you would live, gently and with purpose. You nod, whoever wrote that deserves a soft prize. It's inside, the bath is long and shallow, tiled in a pattern of swirling ocean waves. The walls are stone. The lighting comes only from paper lanterns and the reflection of water. While you undress, wash, then step into the bath. And this one feels like entering a memory you didn't know you had. The water isn't just warm, it's familiar. Like a voice you can't quite place saying, "You've been here before." You bring your very first towel again, the raindrop one. It sits on the edge of the pool, slightly faded now. While you lean back, let yourself sink. Time does not exist here. A breath slows, thoughts stretch out. A woman enters, nods. Her towel is deep purple, almost black, with a pattern of moons in phases. She soaks silently on the opposite end. And after a long time, she says, "I only use this towel during new moons, to remind myself that even what's invisible is still whole." You smile, "That's beautiful." She shrugs, "It's a towel." You both laugh softly, like the walls might blush if it gets too loud. Here's something beautifully obscure. There was once a poet in the early era who refused to write with paper. He wrote only on cloth, specifically on towels. His reasoning: paper expects to be read, a towel expects to be used. Let the poem disappear in the act of drying. His name was, few of his works survive. Most were soaked, used, and gone. But one or two still exist, faint lines of ink barely visible beneath fiber. Historians still debate whether his poetry was brilliant or merely eccentric. But either way, he lived in a way that let his towels breathe verse. Back in the bathhouse, the moon towel woman rises, bows, and disappears behind a sliding door. You're alone again. The water whispers around your shoulders. You imagine every towel you've used laid out end to end like a path. Each one a step, each one a day. While you close your eyes, it's in the darkness behind your lids you see steam rising from rooftops. You see the face of the man with the bright red towel. You hear the cat towel girl laughing. You remember the feel of the koi ghosts in your hands. Though they were never just towels. They were transitions. From hurry to stillness, from grime to grace, from noise to now. Eventually the water cools, or maybe you've warmed enough. Either way, it's time. You towel off, slowly. The raindrop towel presses against your skin like a goodbye. You fold it, not tightly, just enough. You step back into the dressing room, then out into the night. The air is colder now, but it doesn't reach you. Your warmth lingers. As you walk back to your inn, you pass a group of teenagers laughing too loudly. One has a towel slung around their neck like a cape. They're pretending to be a superhero. You smile. Maybe they are. You reach your room, light a small candle, sit by the window. The towel rests across your lap, quiet as ever. And you think, as if I live my life the way I fold this towel, carefully, attentively, without rushing. Maybe I'll leave behind something soft enough for someone else to hold. You blow out the candles. And the night folds itself around you. The morning light doesn't rush in, it sneaks like a cat on soft paws. You awaken slowly, the world unfolding like a flower that takes its sweet time. Your towel rests folded on the windowsill, catching the early breeze, its fibers whispering faintly like an old friend waking from a nap. You reach out and smooth it, feeling the texture anew, soft, worn, carrying a silent history that now includes you. You dress, moving with the deliberate care of someone who knows that haste is the enemy of grace. Outside, the town breathes its quiet routine. Shopkeepers sweep the sidewalks with bamboo brooms. The rhythmic scrape a gentle percussion beneath the murmur of waking cicadas. You decide today will be a day of stories. The bathhouses are more than places to wash. They are repositories of narratives, whispered between steam clouds and tiled walls. You seek them out. Your first stop is a modest bathhouse renowned for its communal spirit. Inside, the air smells faintly of cedar and soap, mixed with the unmistakable warmth of human presence. You meet the attendant, a woman whose smile holds decades of kindness. She recognizes your towel and nods approvingly. "A good choice," she says, folding her own towel in a practiced gesture. You settle into the washing area, your hands moving through the water like familiar poetry. Around you, conversations ebb and flow, soft laughter, the occasional cough, the rustle of towels being folded and unfolded. You listen. One patron recounts a tale from his youth, how during the period bathhouses doubled as clandestine meeting spots for poets and activists. They exchanged ideas wrapped in the steam, their towels doubling as secret codes, patterns signaling allegiance or dissent. Historians debate how widespread this was, but the romance of it lingers like a scented candle in a dim room. You feel your towel pressing gently against your skin, as if sharing the secret. Later, you retreat to the soaking pool, sinking into the warm embrace of water that seems to cradle the stories told and untold. Beside you, a woman folds her towel into a perfect rectangle, a silent nod to tradition. You try to mimic her, your fingers fumbling but learning. Though the towel is no longer just cloth, it's a language, a touchstone. As the bath winds down, the woman offers a subtle smile. "Towels are our quiet companions," she says. "They bear witness to moments we can't always put into words." You nod, folding your own with newfound respect. As outside, the sun dips low, casting amber hues across the rooftops. You walk slowly home, your towel folded carefully, carrying not just water but stories, histories, and a gentle sense of belonging. Though the evening deepens into a velvet tapestry studded with stars, you find yourself wandering the town's less traveled lanes, where lantern light flickers against ancient wood and paper. A soft rain begins, teasing the air with cool fingers. You seek shelter beneath an awning of an old tea house, where the scent of roasted barley tea mingles with the earth. Inside, the patrons are quiet, sipping slowly, lost in their own thoughts. You unfold your towel, draping it lightly over your shoulders, a shield against the damp chill. As a man at the corner watches you and nods. His towel bears a bold pattern of cranes in flight, symbols of longevity and hope. You share a smile, a silent communion of kindred spirits bound by woven threads. He tells you softly about a curious custom from the Edo era. During winter solstice, families would dip their towels in hot spring water infused with yuzu fruit, believed to ward off colds and invite good fortune. Historians argue whether this was a widespread practice or confined to select regions, but the legend has endured, perfuming the air like citrus-scented steam. You fold your towel carefully, imagining the warmth of yuzu-infused water slipping through the fabric. The rain eases, leaving the world washed and renewed. You step outside, your towel a comforting weight, a memory in fabric form. You walk back beneath the stars, feeling the quiet pulse of history woven into every fold. The morning light slips through the paper windows like a slow, golden sigh. You wake with a softness in your limbs, a sense that time itself has slowed just for you. Outside, the world hums quietly. The distant call of a crow, the whisper of wind through bamboo, the gentle murmur of a river weaving its way through the valley. Your towel, folded meticulously on the windowsill, feels like a talisman. You lift it and hold it close for a moment. A familiar weight, a tactile memory stitched into every fiber. And today, you decide to explore the outskirts of town where the old river bathhouses once thrived. Places where the water was colder, but the stories ran hotter. Walking through narrow lanes, you pass wooden houses with sliding doors slightly ajar, inviting glimpses into lives shaped by simplicity and ritual. You arrive at an aging bathhouse perched precariously on the riverbank, its wooden beams weathered but proud. The sound of water flowing beneath the building mingles with the creak of the floorboards as you enter. And inside, the air is thick with steam and history. The tiles beneath your feet are worn smooth, their colors faded like old photographs. You meet the bathhouse keeper, a kindly man whose face is etched with the lines of countless sunrises and goodbyes. He regards your towel with a nod of recognition. "Ah," he says, "that pattern speaks of the mountains. It's a good choice for a river bath." You smile, folding the towel slowly, appreciating how its threads echo the contours of the landscape you've just traveled. He tells you a story, one of the river bathhouses during the Edo period, where travelers would stop not just to cleanse but to share news and tales, their towels drying in the breeze like flags of camaraderie. There was a tradition, he says, where bathers would exchange towels as tokens of friendship. A practice that historians still debate was either a heartfelt custom or a clever marketing ploy by innkeepers. You imagine those exchanges, the quiet trust, the warmth passed hand to hand, thread to thread. You soak in the water, colder than the baths nearer town, and let the river's current whisper secrets through your skin. The river bathhouse, with its exposed beams and open windows, feels less like a place to wash and more like a bridge between past and present, self and other, noise and silence. You dry off slowly, folding your towel with care, feeling its weight in your hands, a tangible connection to the countless hands that folded it before. As you step outside, the sun warms your face, and you think about how towels, humble as they are, carry more than water. They carry the stories of human kindness, quiet resistance, and the passage of time. The night falls like a velvet curtain, soft and inevitable. You find yourself drawn to the town's old communal bath, a place said to be the heart of the community since the late Meiji era. Though the lanterns outside flicker in the evening breeze, their light casting playful shadows on the cobblestones. Inside, the bathhouse hums with life. The air is fragrant with soap and cedar, mingling with the warm breath of those gathered to soak, talk, and simply be. You notice a small corner dedicated to towels, rows of neatly folded fabrics, each bearing patterns telling stories of seasons, families, and forgotten festivals. An elderly woman approaches, her hands folded over a towel dyed in the deep reds and golds of autumn leaves. She shares with you a little-known tradition from the period. Families would create custom towels adorned with motifs representing their lineage and aspirations, passing them down through generations like heirlooms. Historians debate how often these towels survived the ravages of time and use, but their symbolism remains potent, embodying a quiet pride and connection. You touch the fabric gently, feeling the stories woven into every thread. And as you bathe, you think about the cycles of use and renewal, how towels absorb the past and release it with each wash, much like memory itself. You fold your towel thoughtfully when you leave, mindful of the legacy you carry forward. As outside, the night air is cool, scented faintly with cherry blossoms in bloom. You walk home beneath the stars, your towel folded but never forgotten, a soft, silent companion in the unfolding story of your journey. The dawn arrives like a gentle invitation rather than an alarm. You wake not because of noise or light, but because your body has settled into the rhythm of the place, a rhythm that feels ancient and patient. Your towel rests folded neatly beside the window, bathed in the soft glow of early morning. You reach for it, feeling the texture familiar and yet endlessly new, like a well-worn book that still surprises with each reading. Now today, you choose to explore the quiet paths beyond the town, where nature breathes deeply and time seems to stretch like the long shadows of maple leaves. You walk slowly, the towel tucked under your arm, a constant companion, a piece of human history folded into your daily routine. The trail leads you to a secluded onsen nestled in a valley, its wooden beams darkened by decades of rain and steam. You step inside and are greeted by the warm scent of cedar and minerals, the water shimmering with reflections of ancient pines. The keeper, an elderly man with eyes that twinkle like starlight, notices your towel and offers a knowing smile. He tells you of an old custom. Travelers would dye their towels with natural pigments gathered along their journeys: indigo from river reeds, safflower from distant fields, each towel a map of places visited and stories lived. Historians still debate whether this practice was widespread or a niche tradition among wandering poets and merchants, but the idea fascinates you. You imagine how each dyed towel carried whispers of far-off mountains and forgotten seasons, held close against weary skin. As immersed in the mineral-rich waters, you feel yourself dissolving into the landscape, your towel resting nearby, absorbing the quiet. And as you dry off, you fold the towel carefully, each crease a silent thank you to the hands that crafted it, the water that cleansed it, and the stories it carries. You step out into the cool morning air, the towel folded but alive with the weight of history, and walk back toward the town not as a visitor, but as a part of its unfolding story. The afternoon sun filters through the lattice windows of a small, family-run bathhouse nestled in a side alley, a place where time seems to slow and every moment invites mindfulness. You enter, greeted by the gentle murmur of water and the soft rustle of towels being folded with practiced care. The owner, a middle-aged woman with a warm smile, recognizes your towel and shares a story about the significance of patterns in towel weaving. She explains that in some regions during the Edo period, families wove symbolic motifs, cranes for longevity, waves for resilience, plum blossoms for renewal, into their towels, imbuing these everyday objects with layers of meaning. Historians debate whether these patterns were purely decorative or carried coded messages, understood only by those within certain communities, but their beauty and purpose remain undeniable. You run your fingers over the fabric of your towel, feeling the history stitched into every thread. As you bathe, you reflect on the role of ritual in daily life, how the simple act of folding a towel can become a meditation, a moment of presence amid the chaos of the world. You fold your towel slowly when you leave, appreciating how this humble object connects you to generations past and present. As outside, the streets hum softly with life, children playing, merchants calling out, the scent of fresh food wafting through the air. You walk home beneath a sky streaked with pink and gold, your towel folded but full, a tangible link between your journey and the rich tapestry of history unfolding around you. Late morning, the kind that drapes itself lazily across your shoulders, warm and unhurried. Your towel is folded beside the futon, waiting like a dog at the foot of your bed, not clingy, just quietly loyal. You've started folding it differently now, in half, then in thirds, the way you saw an elderly man do 2 nights ago. The crease lines make a satisfying symmetry, like origami for the soul. On today, there's no particular destination. You let the towel decide, and it pulls you toward the marketplace. The streets are lined with stalls, Fabrics flutter overhead, shading baskets of sweet potato, bundles of dried fish, and towers of unfamiliar pickles. The air smells like fire, soy, and secrets. You spot a small vendor's table draped with folded, traditional Japanese towels dyed with patterns that practically hum with history. Some have carp leaping through waves. Others are covered in abstract geometrics or rows of sleepy-looking owls. One in particular catches your eye. It's deep indigo hand-dyed with a white circle in the center, and 4 brush strokes radiating outward like the petals of a wind-blown chrysanthemum. You pick it up and the vendor, a woman barely taller than her own counter, tells you that pattern's called things that sway. It's meant for people who don't like to sit still. You raise an eyebrow. It found the wrong person then. She laughs. Maybe it's trying to help you remember who you used to be. You buy it, of course. Here's a quietly beautiful detail. During the late Edo period, traveling actors carried signature towels with patterns that identified them on and off stage. Fans would collect these towels the way people now collect vinyl or basketball jerseys. Some patterns were so iconic, they'd be printed on paper handbills and passed around as souvenirs. Yet historians still debate whether the towels were used practically or just theatrically. But a few survived long enough to live behind glass in quiet museums. You walk through the market with your new towel gently folded inside your bag. It's still stiff, untouched by water. You wonder what it will feel like after its first soak, what stories it will choose to remember. You stop for tea. A man 2 tables over is using his towel as another wraps his around his head to keep off the sun. Yet another has his tucked beneath a toddler in a woven stroller, softening the jolts of cobblestones. It's a towel and also it's a gesture. A little pause, a signal, a map. You finish your tea and walk back toward the edge of town, where the sun slants sideways and time itself seems to slow down for a stretch and catch its breath. Your towel rides in your hand now, half unfolded, like it's getting to know you. You glance down at it and say softly, "You're going to like it here." And somehow it seems to agree. The evening falls like a soft curtain of blue silk, not a crash of darkness, just a hush. A mutual agreement between sky and earth to wind things down. You return to your favorite bathhouse, the one with the koi tile floors and the old woman who nods like she's known you for decades. You bring your new towel, the indigo. It still smells faintly of ink and air. As you undress and fold your clothes, you pause before stepping into the washroom. You hold the towel up to the light, admiring its bold simplicity. The white circle at its center glows like a moon in water. Well then, you soak it. The water swallows it whole. The fabric darkens, becomes softer, more honest. Now you wring it out slowly and begin to wash. And just like that, the towel is no longer new. It's a towel now, real and damp and bearing your warmth. The man beside you has a towel with cartoon vegetables on it, eggplants smiling. Carrots mid-dance. He scrubs his back and hums a pop song under his breath. Oh, you smile. Oh, he catches your eye. Bought it for my daughter, he says. She gave it back once she decided veggies were the enemy. Oh, you laugh, now it's your legacy. It feels about right, he replies. Towels get handed down right, might as well inherit the war on. He finishes first. As he leaves, he folds the towel with surprising grace, creases aligned, corners sharp, almost ceremonial. Now you linger always. As the bath empties out, the water stills. The room becomes quiet, filled only with the sound of your breathing and the whisper of droplets meeting tile. You remember something from a book you once skimmed on a train. In early Meiji-era inns, the care with which one folded their towel was said to reflect the soul's current state. A chaotic fold meant a restless heart. A neat one, a settled mind. A perfectly square fold was rumored to invite good dreams. The historians argue whether this was ever truly believed, or merely a poetic affectation passed down by innkeepers with a flair for metaphysics. Either way, it stays with you. You step out of the water, towel yourself dry slowly, mindfully. The new towel feels different now, less stiff, more yielding. You fold it as squarely as you can manage, not perfect, but thoughtful. As outside night has deepened, the air tastes like stone and pine. You wander toward the river, towel under your arm, still warm from your skin. You find a bench overlooking the slow-moving current and sit. Across the river, faint lights from other homes and bathhouses flicker like fireflies. A small breeze picks up. Your towel shifts in your lap, you let it. You think about how many lives your towel will touch, how many baths it will witness. You wonder who might find it years from now, folded into a drawer or packed away in a suitcase, and what they'll think of the faint circle at its center. Maybe they'll smile, maybe they'll soak it, dry it, and begin again. And maybe, just maybe, they'll feel you there softly, in the way the fabric yields, in the way it folds. In the way it remembers. The dawn stretches like a cat across the tatami, unbothered by schedules or smartphone alarms. You wake when the light decides. Your body has surrendered to village time, where even the roosters consult the sun before crowing. Your towel, the indigo with its moon-white circle, rests folded at your pillow's edge, dutiful as a night shift guardian. You run a hand across the now soft weave and remember yesterday's first soak. How the fabric drank the bath's quiet and exhaled it back as warmth. And today promises drizzle. You taste rain in the air before a single drop falls. Pulling on a light jacket, you slip the towel beneath your arm, no longer luggage, more like an old friend who refuses to let you leave the house without snacks. You wander toward the town's northern slope, where mossy steps climb to a shuttered silk dye workshop. The sign, wood cracked like a smile missing teeth, still reads Studio, Est 1854. Curiosity tugs, you shimmy the gate open just enough to enter. Inside, dust motes perform lazy ballet in slanted light. Wooden vats line the walls, each stained with ghosts of pigments. Indigo here, persimmon there, the faint gold of turmeric lingering like a polite guest who stayed too long. You unfold your towel and imagine its birth in a place much like this. Cotton stretched, paste stenciled, dye poured in slow waves. A faded calendar, Showa 17, 1942, hangs beside the vats. Someone marked a date with red ink and a wistful Matsuri. War canceled that festival, you recall. Major historical fact, in 1942, many local celebrations were suspended so fabric, dye, even manpower could divert to the front. Whole shipments of towels were rerouted to military hospitals, pressed into service as bandages. You picture bright towels meeting dark wounds, color and blood mingling, patterns hidden beneath emergency knots. Grim beauty, yes, but also proof that the humble never flinches when asked to help. You run a finger along the vat's rim. The cool iron makes you shiver pleasantly, like brushing against history's pulse. A laugh escapes you, joke one. Great, I just got goosebumps from a rusty bucket, take that spa day. On a work table sits a ledger. Pages curl like sleeping cats, ink faded to sepia. One entry reads, 600 dyed towels for evacuation kits. That tannin-rich persimmon dye rumored to repel insects and even some claimed radiation, light joke too. Move over lead vests, make way for fruit fashion. Scholars still debate whether that protective claim was scientific optimism or desperate wishful thinking, but mothers tucked those towels into children's rucksacks all the same. You fold your across the ledger page, aligning the white circle with the inked characters. A quiet bridging of decades. Rain finally begins, tapping the roof in lazy Morse code. You take that as cue to leave, bowing to the empty room as though it granted a guided tour. Outside, puddles stipple the courtyard. Your towel, now tucked inside your jacket, catches a drop on its edge, first baptism by sky water. Down the steps you slip, light joke 3. Congratulations, you invented downhill ice skating on moss. Miraculously, only dignity bruised. You pat the towel, thankful it cushioned your elbow like an over-eager stunt double. A narrow alley carries you to a tiny tea stall. Steam rises from bamboo cups, curling like question marks. You order smoky. The owner eyes your damp towel approvingly. Persimmon vats up their still whisper, he asks. You nod, he pours extra tea, whispers back, dry it by the brazier. You drape the towel over warm cedar, watching steam bleed through cotton in lazy sighs. An obscure cultural tidbit, he recounts how in some mountain villages, new brides once presented a freshly steamed towel to each household, proof they could weave warmth from water and diligence. Fail the fold, earn gossip hotter than tea. You fold yours perfectly, square corners, crisp creases. The tea seller whistles low. Your spouse will be lucky. You grin, deciding not to mention you're currently married to quiet moments and wandering towels. As outside, drizzle eases. Streets glisten like lacquer. You shoulder the now dry and head toward the riverside path where willow branches write cursive on water. A fisherman waves, towel-wrapped pirate style around his head. You wave back, realizing towels here are less accessory, more dialect. You spend the afternoon walking until footsteps blur into heartbeat. Every so often you touch the towel, pulse check, memory keeper. By dusk, clouds lift, revealing a shy lavender sky. Lanterns flicker alive, and you follow their glow back to town like breadcrumbs of light. Is at the inn, you refold the towel, half-thirds square, lay it on the sill beside last night's moonlit friend. Two towels now, one seasoned by baths, one baptized by rain. They rest like siblings, whispering about who had the wilder day. You stretch, muscles humming with river air and persimmon ghosts. A slow smile. Tomorrow another bath, another fold, another page in cloth. The sleep arrives on padded feet. Your last thought, a towel is never just a towel, it's tomorrow's anecdote waiting to dry. Night doesn't fall so much as glide, silk on skin, until shadows blend with dreams. You wake past midnight, called by distant drums, soft, syncopated, impossible to ignore. Wrapping thee around your shoulders like a casual cloak, you step outside. The street is hushed but not empty. Lanterns sway, casting honey gold halos. The drums pulse from the old shrine square, the spot you visited on day one, remember. The wind that night nodded at your towel, tonight it invites you back. You follow the rhythm up stone steps slick with dew. At the top, villagers in yukata circle a bonfire, their towels knotted like sashes, headbands, wrist wraps. It's the vigil, a once-a-decade gathering to honor artisans lost in the 1955 flood, when the river swelled like an unpruned metaphor and swept half the Dai district downstream. Major historical fact. After that disaster, local guilds formed the cooperative of pledging mutual aid and insisting each commemorative ceremony include a towel dance to dry the spirits. No brochure mentioned this. Lucky midnight wanderings are a thing. A gentle-faced elder spots your indigo towel, beckons you to join the ring. You hesitate, outsider concern, but she taps the circle pattern and whispers, "Water dances with the moon tonight." That's permission enough. Someone hands you a small bell stitched onto a scrap of faded cotton. You weave into the circle, bells chiming with each step. The dance is simple. Left foot, right foot, raise towel, spin. After 3 spins, slide the towel between palms as though squeezing rain from memory. Now you comply, the rhythm is hypnotic. Jokes emerge between steps. If I spin faster, do I get frequent miles? As a teen quips, careful, grandma. Last time you twirled like that we had to call a chiropractor. Someone replies, we're covered. She pays her premiums in hot springs. The laughter blooms but never breaks the hush. Even humor obeys the slow tempo. Is at the dance's end, participants drape towels over the shrine rail, patterns overlapping like patchwork constellations. You place your near the center, the moon's circle glowing amber by firelight. The elder thanks you with a bow. She tells a weird cultural tidbit. Some families keep a dream towel under their pillow. If you wake recalling a nightmare, you wipe your face with it to remove the bad picture. It's then hung outside at dawn so sun can bleach the fear away. She shrugs superstition, therapy works either way. A cool breeze dips, lifting towel corners in tiny applause. You notice a historian type, square glasses, notebook, and the contagious air of curiosity. He mutters into recorder. Scholars still debate whether the vigil predates the flood or was conceived post-tragedy as communal therapy. You smile. Every ritual, like every towel, holds uncertainty in its weave. The bonfire dwindles. Reds become embers, embers become whispers. Towels sway, drying on shrine rails, absorbing smoke and gratitude. Before leaving, each villager retrieves theirs, folding it once over heart, once over mind, an unspoken pledge. You collect yours, now infused with cedar smoke and drumbeat echoes. Folding it, you feel the night's weight settle lightly in its fibers. The elder clasps your hands. Carry the river's memory kindly, she says. Then, surprising you, she presses a small towel into your palms. It's rough spun, persimmon dyed like the vats at studio. The pattern, tiny overlapping circles, droplets joining to form a wave. For tomorrow's tears, she adds, half wink, half blessing. You walk downhill cradling two towels, the indigo moon and the persimmon wave. They talk quietly, fibers brushing like siblings meeting for the first time. The streetlights bow out, letting dawn audition. By the time you reach the inn, the world is gray, blue, and bird curious. You lay both towels on the windowsill, edges touching. You breathe in their mingled scents, rain, smoke, mineral water, distant drums. Fold them together, half-thirds square, not perfect, just sincere. Curling beneath the futon, you whisper to the dark, "Thank you for every thread." The sleep returns, slow and deep, carrying the faint echo of bells and the rustle of cloth dancing for the river. Towels rest nearby, guarding dreams, ready for whatever tomorrow wets, warms, or washes away. The sky this morning is not a color so much as a mood. A pale wash of blue, the kind that makes you slow your breath without noticing. Not quite rain, not quite sun. The air smells like waiting. You sit quietly by the window, sipping barley tea, both hands wrapped around the cup like you're afraid it might float away. Beside you, the two towels rest neatly folded. You're now familiar, the moon and waves, and the persimmon-dyed gift from the vigil. You pick up the latter. Its fibers are coarse but honest, the color uneven in places as though memory itself was dyed into the weave. You think about how every towel here tells a story, but more than that, how each one listens. To steam, to silence, to grief, to joy. Now you decide today is not for a bathhouse. Today is for walking. You carry both towels as you leave the inn. The streets are quieter than usual, the way towns often are after shared rituals. Like everyone's spirits got gently wrung out, now drying in the breeze. Your feet lead you to the forest path outside town, the one that winds between mossy stones and small shrines with weather-worn faces. You've passed it before, always meaning to walk it. Today, finally, you do. A kilometer in, the trees begin to close ranks, forming a canopy that filters light into something dreamlike. Ferns crowd the trail. Birds mutter secret jokes. You pause at a wayside shrine, placing the persimmon towel on the stone base. You don't know the prayers, but you offer a folded gesture, 3 deep breaths, a bowed head, and the sense that someone somewhere understood. And there's a small detail you recall, perhaps from a book or just a dream. In rural villages, some believed leaving a towel at a shrine invited ancestors to visit your dreams. Wipe your brow and visit, they'd say. A superstition, yes, but superstition is often just love dressed in ceremony. Historians argue whether this was ever formal practice or just local embellishment. But then again, all traditions start small, like threads, like towels. Further up the path, you reach a stream. Clear, shallow, winding like it's late for something but refuses to rush. You dip both towels in and wring them out gently. The water leaves them darker, heavier, more vivid. They drip for a moment, then settle pliant in your hands. You fold the persimmon towel not to pack it away, but to carry it like a pocket-sized paws. A stillness wrapped in cotton. Nearby, a flat stone beckons. You sit. Listen. No lessons, no need for purpose. Just stone under you, water beside you, and towels drying across your knees. And here's your subtle joke, one of 3. If enlightenment shows up, it better bring snacks. It doesn't, but a soft breeze does, rustling the trees, making the towels lift at their corners like they're trying to sneak off. You let them. Back in town, hours later, you pass a laundress's house. Outside, a line of towels sways gently, some striped, some dotted, some printed with fish that seem to swim when the breeze hits just right. She's out front, folding methodically. You watch from a respectful distance until she waves you over. You compliment the fold. She smiles modestly and says, "My mother used to say, a good towel fold is a small act of order against the world's nonsense." Then she pauses and adds, "It doesn't always work, but I do it anyway." You nod, you know what she means. She offers to show you a trick for compact folding. The kind used by traveling monks, she whispers as though it's scandalous. You watch her demonstrate the twist fold tuck that results in a tidy bundle small enough to disappear into a sleeve. She winks. Spiritual efficiency. And that's obscure cultural tidbit number 1. During the period, some traveling monks carried a single towel twisted like a scroll in their sleeve. Used it to dry hands after ritual, to shade their heads from sun, even as a writing mat when copying sutras on the road. A practical holiness. You try the fold. Yours looks more like a wrinkled dumpling than a monk's relic, but the woman claps anyway. Good first try. Enlightenment has to start somewhere. Light joke 2. Next time I'll skip the towel and just dry off with existential dread. So she laughs. That's not absorbent. Ask my husband. You part ways, promising to keep practicing the monk's fold. Your towels ride in your arms, well-aired and lighter for the walk. As at the inn, you refold them with care and place them side by side again. Tonight, they don't whisper, they rest. And so do you. The next morning begins not with light, but with sound. It's a soft, steady clatter like rain, but not rain. You open the window and find the source, laundry day everywhere. The town is alive with drying lines. Across alleys, over balconies, even stretched between trees in the park. Towels, yukata, each swaying like slow flags of daily life. Your own towels are waiting, already folded, anticipating today's outing. You decide they've earned something special. A local museum, perhaps. Not a grand institution with marble halls, but the tiny kind tucked above a stationery store, where curators double as shopkeepers and the floorboards are gloriously squeaky. You arrive and are greeted by an elderly man who wears his like a sash. You mention towels and his eyes light up. Come, he says, beckoning with a flourish only slightly exaggerated. We have a drawer. A drawer. He opens a wide wooden cabinet with reverence, revealing dozens of neatly folded towels. Historical prints, commemorative designs, promotional giveaways from defunct soy sauce companies. Some dated, some dyed with seasonal flora. All beautiful. This one, he says, lifting a towel printed with mount and tiny rabbits, was given to children on their first day of school in 1937. You blink, the towel is tiny, barely wider than your hand, but the ink is still sharp. He continues, towels were often part of school kits. Wipe your face, fold your manners, learn to be human. That's your major historical fact. In pre-war Japan, standardized education included lessons in personal cleanliness and folding technique. Students were graded not just on calligraphy, but on how they arranged their hand towels on their desks. Why? Because order was seen as a civic virtue. A wrinkle was rebellion. Historians argue whether these rituals helped or hindered critical thinking. But one thing is clear. The towel wasn't just cloth, it was a formative tool. The museum keeper lets you handle one. You unfold it slowly, amazed at the crispness, the scent of cedar drawers, the way the fabric seems to hold its breath. He notices your care. You fold like someone who's listened. You grin, I've had good teachers. He nods and returns the towel to its drawer. Come back anytime, bring your own stories. You step out into sunlight. The streets are still busy with laundry. A small boy rides by on a bicycle with a towel flapping from his neck like a superhero cape. You chuckle, light joke 3. That's the fastest drying cycle I've seen all week. Back at the inn, you find a surprise on your pillow. A folded towel printed with hydrangeas and the inn's name, a gift from the hostess, a keepsake, a goodbye. You sit for a moment holding it in your lap. It's new, still crisp, corners sharp. It smells faintly of starch and rice paper. You fold it once, then again, then place it next to your well-worn and the vigil's persimmon wave. The 3 sit together now, 3 chapters, 3 weights, 3 textures. You pour a cup of tea and breathe. As outside, towels dance on lines, telling their own quiet stories in the language of cloth and breeze. And inside, you understand something new. It's never just about the towel. It's about what we choose to fold into it. You're not sure when it happened exactly. Maybe it was the moment the drumbeat echoed in your towels, or when the museum drawer creaked open like a sigh from the past. Or maybe it's just today. But something has shifted. You're no longer a visitor. You're part of the town's soft fabric now. This morning, you wake before the sun, not from alarm or habit, but because your breath matches the rhythm of wooden shutters creaking open down the lane. The innkeeper's daughter is already sweeping the courtyard, her own towel tucked through her obi like a practiced nod to practicality. She sees you and smiles. You hear the wind coming, she asks, in the way people here ask about weather like it's an old friend dropping by for tea. You nod, wrapping over your shoulders. The moon-shaped pattern catches the blue of dawn. It doesn't glow, it hums. The wind does come, slowly at first teasing the eaves, then stronger, lifting the smell of wet stone, cedar, and drying rice stalks from the fields. You wander into it, your steps deliberate. You pass a small field where an elderly man is tying towels around the bases of his garden's cabbages. You pause, mildly baffled. They're not cold, he says, reading your face. There. So you blink. Too much sun and they get bitter, the towel cools them. He shrugs, just like us. The light joke won, so, anti-wrinkle cream for produce. He nods solemnly, and dignity. Cabbages deserve dignity. You offer a bow that tries to contain your grin, then continue along the paths. A little further on, you pass a group of children lined up outside a temple school. Each one clutches a small towel, folded with varying levels of discipline. One boy is a crumpled mess stuffed into his pocket like a ransom note. Another girl's is folded so perfectly you want to shake her hand. Though the teacher steps out and inspects each towel with a glance and a brief comment. Too messy, too proud, very sincere. You wonder what your towel would earn. This brings you to your obscure cultural tidbit. In early 20th century Buddhist temple schools, towel folding was taught as moral posture. Teachers believed a child who folded their towel with care would eventually fold their thoughts the same way. Modern scholars rolled their eyes a little. Correlation, not causation, they say. Also, towels don't do algebra, but the logic still holds some charm. You wander into a neighboring shrine courtyard. A slow ritual is. A local family is presenting a newborn child to the gods. They've wrapped the baby in a towel printed with tiny cranes and pine trees. You recognize the style, it's a birth towel, one passed from parent to child for generations. You listen as the priest blesses the towel, not the child. Because, he explains later, you can't hold a newborn for long, but you can hold the towels. You sit nearby, letting the warmth of that statement linger. You think about your own towel, how often it has held you, caught your breath, accepted your silence, and how, in some slow way, it became a record of your days. You lay the towel across your lap and fold it, not because it's dirty or wet, but because the gesture itself feels like a blessing. Oh, have. A third is the square. You place it gently into your satchel and continue walking. That evening, you return to the bathhouse by the river, the one with the koi tile floor and the ceiling that looks like someone painted steam into wood. You soak quietly, surrounded by the familiar architecture of reflection. Someone plays outside. The notes seep through the screen doors and find your bones. When you leave, the towel is warm in your hands. You carry it like something breakable, like something kind. You walk home in silence. You don't fold the towel before bed. You lay it across the sill, open, watching it catch moonlight. Not everything needs to be folded to be understood. Well, the next day begins with the softest of invitations, rain on paper screens. Not thunder, no wild downpour, just a hush-hush drizzle tapping like a gentle hand at your shoulder. It's time, it says, come listen. Are you obliged? Wrapped in your inn's soft yukata, you watch the rain for a while before reaching for your towel. It feels heavier today. Not with water, but with weeks of touch, memory, quiet folding and unfolding. It has, in its cotton body, become a vessel. You dress slowly. The towel rides in the crook of your elbow. You know exactly where you're going today. It's a place the locals only mention after 3 cups of sake. So the towel graveyard. No, not an actual graveyard. You won't find tombstones shaped like clothespins or ghostly piles of wandering the streets. But it's a real place, a hillside clearing where old towels are brought to rest, not discarded, not trashed, just honored. You reach it by walking behind the eastern shrine, past 2 stone lanterns, and along a winding trail marked only by indigo-dyed cloth tied to low branches. When you arrive, it's just as described. A quiet, grassy patch surrounded by bamboo and pine with rows of weather-worn wooden posts. On each post is draped a towel, some shredded, some faded, some embroidered with names long unreadable. A plaque at the entrance explains in calligraphy. These towels have served. They have warmed, wiped, cradled, carried. May they rest. Now you walk slowly among them. One towel is dyed the color of dusk, its edges frayed like snowflakes. Another is printed with cranes, so faded they look like clouds. There's even one from a now-defunct bathhouse you visited earlier in your trip, the logo just barely visible. You didn't bring a towel to retire, not yet. But you place your hand on one of the posts, offering thanks to the unseen hands that folded these, washed these, let them go. Here's your historical fact. Some regions, particularly in practice, literally, burial of garments. Old robes and towels are offered to small temples or laid to rest in symbolic ceremonies to honor the years they've spent in service. Historians debate whether this was more spiritual or hygienic. Regardless, the practice continues in quiet corners of Japan. You sit beneath a persimmon tree, letting the rain freckle your sleeve. A breeze lifts your towel gently off your lap, and for a moment you think it might fly. Slight joke one, just once I want to be carried away by a towel. preferably to a very soft afterlife. Slight joke, too. If reincarnation is real, I hope I come back as one of those ultra-luxe hotel towels. The kind that never touches feet. You fold your towel slowly, not out of obligation, but because it feels like an embrace. You head back down the hill, rain-speckled but lighter, cleansed not by water but by memories. Later, as the rain fades and the sky opens into soft lavender, you find yourself in the town's small. It's dimly lit, quiet, and smells like dust and jasmine. You ask the owner if they have any books on towels. She blinks, then smiles. Strangely, yes. She hands you a slim, hand-bound volume titled The Towels We Leave Behind. Inside are sketches of towel patterns, short haiku, and tiny diary entries written by anonymous travelers. Some are funny, some melancholy, all written on towels. While one entry reads, "Folded in haste, dried your tears, became a pillow. You never said thank you, I forgive you anyway." You close the book and hold it to your chest. The shopkeeper wraps it in paper and tucks a small sample towel inside as a gift. It's lemon yellow with tiny fish bones on it. Odd, charming, completely unexplainable. You don't try to explain it. As at dinner, the innkeeper serves you a dish wrapped in cloth, a cooking method from centuries ago. The towel is steamed, fragrant with miso and herbs. You unwrap it slowly like a gift. The scent alone feels like history. Later that night, your 3 towels rest on your pillow. The original, the persimmon vigil gift, and now the tiny yellow one with fish bones. You lay them in a row, side by side. You don't fold them. You watch them for a while, each with its own story, each with its own weight. You think one more day. Maybe 2. But not many more. The towels know they don't rush you. They wait gently, just like they always have. You dream of steam. It's not dramatic, not surreal, just warm, rising quietly from a wooden bucket. In the dream, your towel is already wet. You never see who placed it there. You only know that it was done with care. You wake slowly. The light is the kind that gets caught in rice paper and filtered through dust motes. Everything in the room feels hushed, reverent, like it's waiting for you to speak first. You don't. Instead, you reach for the towel closest to you. The indigo, moon-centered, softened by weeks of use. You press it to your face not to dry anything, but because it feels like a returning. Today will be your last full day here. You let that realization settle in your chest like a smooth stone. Not heavy, not painful, just present. You fold the towel slowly, habit now, but still deliberate. It reminds you of something a woman once said at a train station long ago. The heart learns through the hands. You hadn't understood it then. You do now. You head into town, the towel under your arm as always. The streets feel familiar but not stale. As if they've been waiting for you to reach this level of slowness before showing their final layer. You visit the bookstore again. The shopkeeper sees you and says only upstairs. You didn't know there was an upstairs. You climb the narrow wooden steps, ducking beneath beams too short for modern humans. At the top is a small tatami room, no lights, just a window and a low table. On it, a notebook, a brush pen, and a fresh, unfolded towel. Yuza said, you write. It begins with a single sentence. This towel was not mine, and then it was. You write slowly, your words meandering. A travelogue in cloth, a diary for no one. A folded memory pressed into ink. When you're done, the shopkeeper reappears. She dries the towel by the window, then hangs it from a low beam. The towel flutters slightly. It joins dozens of others. You hadn't noticed before, each with handwritten stories, brushwork, haiku, simple sketches. A quiet archive of passing souls. Your contribution dries beside a towel that reads, I wiped my grief on you, you didn't flinch. Another says, you wrapped my lunch and my regrets. A third is painted with a single plum blossom and nothing else. You bow to them, to the room, to the ceiling, which has probably seen more tears than most temples. Back outside, it's almost midday. You follow your feet toward the river, the one that carried away the dye shop in 1955 and still hums its wet lullaby today. You sit by the same bench you first found. Remember, just a couple dozen hours into the trip, before the towel knew your name, before you understood that cloth could teach. You unpack all 3 towels. Lay them out in the sun, each one touching the next like they're holding hands. As a breeze picks up, they flutter but don't move. You let your hands rest on them. You don't need to say goodbye yet. They know. Evening arrives like someone sneaking into your room to fold your laundry without being asked. You don't even notice it settling in until the sky is already peach honey gold. Until the air is cooler than it was an hour ago. Until you realize you've been sitting in the same spot by the river for longer than some people meditate in a month. Your towels have dried by now. The sun worked quietly, no ceremony, just warmth and time. You fold them carefully. This time you don't rush. You don't fold them because you have to. You fold them the way a friend might straighten your collar before a photo, just a final kindness. While you head back through town, not quickly, you lingers. Well, the woman at the tea stall gives you an extra piece of roasted chestnut, no charge. The man at the dye shop, who you didn't think remembered you, nods and says, the indigo took to you. Even the still clutching their small folded towels seem to bow a little deeper than usual as you pass. You stop at the laundress's house. She's hanging towels in the late light, humming something tuneless but sweet. You ask if she's retiring any towels tonight. She nods one. She lifts it from the basket. It's threadbare, soft to the point of transparency, with only the faintest hint of a rabbit pattern left on it. You recognize it. It was in the museum drawer. While you ask if she'll bury it. She shrugs, maybe, or maybe I'll cut it up and use it to polish brass. That's the other end of the towel life, to shine something else. And that's your obscure cultural tidbit. Some people believe that old towels shouldn't be thrown away or burned, but repurposed into something useful, polished cloths, wrapping rags, even pages in handmade books. Because a towel that has dried a body should never be discarded. It should be invited into a new purpose. You offer her your tiny yellow towel, the one with fish bones. She smiles, this one's got time, but I'll keep it close. She tucks it into her apron pocket like it was always hers. The light joke 1, guess I just gave away my inheritance. The light joke 2, if the towel writes a memoir someday, I want royalties. She laughs and waves you off. Go take one last bath, she says, the one on the hill, it's different. You hadn't heard of a bath on the hill, but the town still has secrets even now. You follow her directions, up behind the old bell tower, past the persimmon tree, through the gate made of stacked firewood, you find it. A tiny wooden hut just large enough for a single bath. No sign, no attendant. Just a stone with the word carved into it, quiet. While you enter, it's warm already. Someone prepared it in advance. You place your nearby. Hang the persimmon vigil towel over the door. Fold your hands around the third towel, your first one from the inn, and set it beside the baths. The water is perfect, the kind that doesn't shock or scald, it just welcomes. While you soak, while you don't think, while you don't narrate, while you just let go. The bathhouse doesn't creak, the steam doesn't swirl dramatically, even the wind outside holds its breath. And then you dry off. Your towel is warm from the bathhouse's cedar shelf. You press it to your skin and feel not just dryness, but presence. This towel has seen every bath you've taken here, every fold, every mistake, every quiet joy. While you dress, you fold the towel. And for the first time, you place it not in your bag, but in your sleeve, twisted like the monk's fold. It fits. You walk down the hill. The sun has vanished now. Street lamps flicker on in quiet unity. You return to the inn. The dinner is waiting, eggplant with miso glaze, rice steamed with chrysanthemum petals, and tofu so soft it could be mistaken for dream foam. While you eat it, while you sleep, while you dream of towels, but this time they're flying, and you're not watching them leave. You're flying with them. The morning of your departure arrives with absolutely no fanfare. No dramatic sunrise. No wistful villagers lining the street in farewell. Just the familiar scent of barley tea and the rhythmic sweep of a broom outside your door. While you stretch, you don't reach for your towel right away. And instead, you sit for a while. There's a difference between leaving and ending. Leaving can be accidental, forgotten toothbrush, a plane ticket, the usual scramble. But endings must be deliberate. You feel that now. Something in your chest folds in on itself as if your own heart wants to be tucked away with care. Oh, eventually you rise. The three towels rest quietly at the windowsill, where they've watched the light change for days. You lay them out. Although you're constant, the persimmon vigil towel, your gift. The yellow towel, now gone, passed on, but its absence is a presence. You take your time folding the first two. The motion is muscle memory by now, but it still slows your breath. Each crease is a goodbye, not a sad one, just a soft one. All halves, all thirds, all square. You wrap the in tissue and tuck it into your satchel. You leave the persimmon towel out, though you'll carry it in your hand. It feels right. And as you step outside, the sky offers you a perfect parting gift. Overcast with drifting light. The kind of day that asks nothing of you. You take the long route to the train station. Through the alleys where laundry lines still hang between windows. Past the garden where the cabbages wear their little towel shawls. Around the bend by the shrine where your story was once whispered into a drumbeat. The world doesn't pause, it doesn't need to. As it continues in its folded rhythm, indifferent but kind. As at the station, you buy a small bottle of and drink it slowly, letting the marble rattle at the neck. You think about all the towels you saw over these days. The printed ones, the gifted ones, the ones who retired with grace. Light joke 1. I've met more emotionally available towels than some people I dated. You find a seat on the platform and pull the persimmon towel into your lap. You smooth it once. Then again, it's not wrinkled, but you do it anyway. And an old man sits next to you, nods at the towel. That one's seen fire. So you blink. You were at the vigil, he says simply. So was I back row. Same towel design 30 years ago. You look at him, he shrugs. Most people came for the festival, I came for the silence. You offer him the towel. He doesn't take it, just smiles. No need to pass it on yet. It hasn't learned everything it needs. You smile, that makes sense. Towels, like people, take time. Your train arrives. The soft hiss of doors sliding open feels like a breath being let out. You step aboard, settle by the window, and place the towel beside you like a companion. As the town slips behind, you don't wave. I'll use simply said, and breathe, and remember. The train hums like a lullaby made from metal and times. You watch the landscape roll past. Rice paddies glinting silver under the shy sun, pine trees dusting the hills like tired brushes, rooftops sagging slightly with age but never apology. Your towel rests in your lap, warm from your hand. You run your fingers along the weave, and for the first time, you notice a loose thread near the corner. You don't pull it. You just trace it with your thumb and think, of course. Nothing that's been truly used stays perfect. A light joke, too, wrinkles build character. If not, my jeans have been lying to me for years. Though the train passes through towns you don't know, names blur, stations flicker in and out of existence. The rhythm of departure and arrival is hypnotic. Now you recall something the museum curator said. The towels are humble by nature. They never beg to be remembered, but somehow they are. Now you look at yours again. Oh, it's just a cotton, but it's also everything. Is at a quiet stop, a woman boards with a child, toddler, curious eyes, and a towel tied like a cape. It's printed with cartoon radishes. You smile. Though the child says yours and points. Moon, he says. Though you nod. He giggles and hides behind his mother's legs. The mother smiles. He thinks all circles are moons right now. Yesterday he called an egg a galaxy. Now you chuckle, he's not wrong. Though the train moves again, the child clutches his cape. You hold your towel. Now two humans, two cloths, one shared silence. You pass a station called Thrush. You jot it down in your notebook, for no reason really, just because it feels soft. You think about the towels still drying back in town, the ones folded in books, the ones hung in shrines, the ones buried beneath plum trees, the ones dancing over cabbages, the ones waiting for new hands. Now you write a single line in your notebook. Now this world is folded in so many quiet ways. And your historical fact for today is in the Edo period, messengers traveling between provinces carried towels bearing their family crests, not as identification but as apology. If they arrived late or caused inconvenience, they'd present the towel as a gesture of regret. It was practical shame, but it often became treasured. A late arrival, yes, but a beautifully folded one. You fold your towel again as if reenacting that old ritual, not out of shame but gratitude. The conductor passes, tipping his cap. You tip yours back mentally. You realize you've barely spoken all morning. And yet somehow this feels like the most communicative day of your trip. You reach into your bag and find the tiny towel booklet from the... You open to a random page. The entry reads, "Fold me when you feel untidy inside." You do. Slowly. Deliberately. You let the train rock you like a cradle. Your towel rests once more beside you, folded like a question with no urgency for answers. And as the final hill slips behind and the city's edge begins to appear, you close your eyes, not to sleep, but to pause. Now this journey is almost over. No, not the trip. The unfolding. While you step off the train. Not into a crowd, not into a bustle, just into the soft hush of a platform that smells like fresh rain and old wood. There's no announcement. No one rushes past you. The world feels paused, like it's waiting for you to land. Now you walk slowly. The city you return to isn't loud, but it's busier. No more towels strung across streets. No shrine bells echoing into Bathhouse steam, just the muted shuffle of weekday lives. Shoes on stone, tires whispering over wet roads. Someone's umbrella opening with a sigh. You carry your towel now, not packed, not hidden. It rests over your forearms like an offering, or maybe like armors. You walk the familiar streets, noticing how unfamiliar they seem. It's not the buildings that changed. It's how you look at them. You pass a dry cleaner's window. A single white towel hangs near the back, folded into a triangle, an odd shape, not quite traditional. It makes you smile. You pass a bus stop where someone dabs their eyes with a tissue. For just a moment, you wish you had another towel to offer. You pass a convenience store, towels for sale inside. Garish colors, loud patterns, plastic wrap that wrinkles beneath fluorescent lights. You pause but don't go in. You don't need another towels. You already carry 3 invisible ones now. The towel of arrival creased with wonder. The towel of memory frayed by story. And the towel of living folded around something you can't quite name. You reach your apartment, unlock the door, let the city sounds fade behind you. And inside, the lights feel too bright, you dim them. You slip off your shoes, loosen your shoulders, set the towel down gently as if it might still be listening. You pour yourself a cup of tea. Oh, it smells different here. Not worse, just distant, like a place you visited once in a dream. You sip slowly, the towel rests nearby, still faithful. You unfold it one last time. Then quietly you fold it again, half-thirds square. And you place it in a drawer, not tucked away, not forgotten, just waiting. While waiting for the next time you night it. Not to dry your skin, but to remember softness. Now, let it go. Let the train slip behind. Let the shrine bells fade. Let the steam dissolve into silence. Your home now, wherever that may be. And yet, a part of you is still there, sitting beside a river, towel across your knees, watching the sky lose color. A part of you is still folding cotton in a quiet bathhouse, where the walls smell like cedar and the ceiling lakes moonlight. A part of you is still writing on fabric in a little bookstore, where the ink runs just slightly when it rains. You don't need to hold on. The towels remember for you. Your hands have learned their language. They've traced the curve of each crease. They've wrapped grief. They've wrapped warmth. They've dried what couldn't be said. So breathe. The longer now. The slower. You are not being asked to understand. Only to rest. Time to exhale. Time to feel the weight of the fabric and let it lift from you. Imagine the steam curling in a quiet room, brushing your face like a blessing. Imagine your towel folded beside you, humming its silent hymn. Imagine your thoughts creased gently like linen being set aside. No need to unpack tonight. Just lie back. Let the air grow still. Let the past hang on the lines. Let the future wait in the drawer. You are here now. Soft, still, folded. Good night.